Chet Holmgren. May have heard of him. Kind of a big name right now. He looks nice. He's looking really good for Gonzaga. But the question is, does this translate to the NBA? He looks like he's going to be a great college player. But just because you're a great college player does not mean anything in the National Basketball Association.
Yeah, and I feel like somewhat of a hypocrite because we're going to sit here and hype up Victor, and then the next topic we have is, is Chet going to be that guy in the NBA? I mean, they're built very similar. But I think the difference is like you talked about, Victor's gone up against grown men his entire life just because that's the way that European Basketball League operate. And Chet has gone up against smaller guys than him for most of his life, it seems like. And people in college aren't the same as they are in the NBA. Like, there's a reason that there's a lot more college athletes than there are NBA athletes. Like, the NBA is the elite of the elite. And that includes the big men, too. Right now, Chet is 7 feet tall, and he's 190 pounds. There's currently one player in the NBA that is 7 feet tall and 200 pounds or less. And that is Pokusevski for the Oklahoma City
I was going to make
Thunder.
that comparison.
He's the only one. And when you watch Poku, as fun as it is to watch Poku play, he's not dominating anybody. He's playing on the wing. And that's the thing, too. I don't think Chet is as fluid in his game as Poku is. I think Poku's footwork's a little bit better. He's a little bit more nimble, mobile, moves a little bit better with his body. Poku's a stretch four, and he's sometimes a small forward. I don't see that out of Chet right now, and I don't see him being used as that in Gonzaga either. I think he's going to be their 5-man. He's a 7-foot center in Division I basketball with elite shot blocking ability. But I mean, he's just not as fluid. Like Chet, he doesn't close out well on shots. He jumps at him instead of what everyone's taught is, chop your feet, stay low, things of that nature. And he doesn't have that mass or strength to match up with other NBA centers right now. I mean, take Dwight Howard, for example. Dwight Howard's a bench center in the NBA right now. I think Dwight Howard moves Chet Holmgren when they're on the block.
I mean, yeah, but Chet also will have the speed advantage when it comes to Dwight having to guard Chet. If Chet brings him outside, we could see issues there.
I don't know if Chet's taking it off the dribble like that, though. That's what I'm saying. I don't think he's as fluid in his game right now. I think in high school, we saw the highlights of it, but it's a lot easier. High school athletes compared to NBA athletes are two completely different universes. So, yeah, he's a big 7-foot dude. He shows amazing skill, and skill always is going to triumph athleticism, in my opinion. It's going to last longer, and at the end of the day, you can rely on your skill more than you can rely on your athleticism. But he's going to be a shot blocker. He's going to be a great college player. But I do think he struggles with the NBA transition and maybe as a shot blocker as well, because in the NBA, people get into the body more. I mean, you see all the crazy layups that Kyrie and people like that do where they get into the body and then they can double clutch it and then finish away from them on the opposite hand, or they can use the rim and they put a spin on it. And Chet, I don't know if Chet's being able to get to those blocks like he can in college basketball because the guards in the NBA are better at creating that body contact to take away the size that Chet has. So I don't like comparing young players to greats, but the best thing for his peak potential that I could come up with is maybe a Dirk style player that just happens to also be a good shot blocker. But my thing with Dirk is Dirk was still 245 pounds. I mean, Chet's 55 pounds under what Dirk was. So there's just, obviously he's going to put on weight, just like we talked about with Victor. He's going to put on weight. He's going to put on muscle, NBA programs, things of that nature. But people will always talk about, Brandon Ingram's so good. Brandon Ingram this. Brandon Ingram's going to get muscle. And you look at Brandon Ingram right now, and
I was just going to bring that up.
Yeah, he's still not much bigger. And, I'm sure he is stronger. And he's just more like controlled with his body and the way he can move with the basketball and on the court. But the actual size and mass, he doesn't look to have as much as people were hoping he was going to get. And if that happens with Chet, I don't know. Maybe he does have some hidden strength, I guess we're to say. because he does match up well against other bigs in the NBA right now. Like, he could just be stronger than he looks. But it's a weird place to be in. I mean, another similar player to him is Bol Bol right now in Denver. I mean, everybody likes watching Bol Bol play basketball. He's a fun basketball player to watch. It's a unanimous thing almost to say, hey, if Bol Bol's in, I'm watching the game. And he's 7'2" and 220, so he's super skinny, and he's still 30 pounds more than Chet is. And he has a lot of the same habits that Chet does. He doesn't move his feet as well. He jumps on the perimeter. Just things of that nature that make it hard for him to be playable. Now, I think Chet's going to be playable, and I think he's going to go to the right situation, and I think he has a lot of upside to be able to do what he's going to do in the league. But I do have questions about it.
And I think the questions are warranted. I think, like we said, great player right now. Looks nice. Putting up 13.8 points, 7 rebounds, 3.5 blocks, and 2 assists per game. Only 25.5 minutes per game. That inside defense is elite. He's a nice shot blocker. I was watching him not even leap in guarding centers this year. Not even jumping and stuffing them and knocking. It's tied for 4th in the NCAA right now for blocks per game. And it's tough to be on a good team in NCAA and a conference. Not that their conference is good, but they're playing good opponents right now. And it's tough to do that and be in the top 5, top 10 for NCAA stats as a guy like that. They're playing Power 5 opponents. And you're competing against guys who might be a Power 5 talent, but they're in a bad conference playing bad talent, so they're racking up the stats. You saw the Oral Roberts guy last year. So it's tough for Chet to be up there. He's top 4 in the NCAA in blocks. He looks like a 3-level scorer. He's shooting, 71% from the field right now. That's ridiculous. 9th in field goal percentage in the entire NCAA. And that's even crazier because he's shooting almost 2.5 threes per game. To be able to shoot 71% from the field when you're putting up 2.5 threes per game, he's looking good. He's low-key nice with the handles. He's never going to be the primary ball handler, but he's nice with it. He has movement that a guy who's that tall should not have, and he does well with his current weight. It would help to add weight. Obviously, Dylan being another tall man, you know how hard it is to put on weight, having a frame like that.
I'm 6'10", 220, and it's still hard to put on weight. Like, that's just the nature of what it is. So, I mean, I hope he's good. I hope it works out. I think he's going to be a good player. I really do. But, I mean, there's doubts there, and we'll just see where that goes.
Look, I like him. I was going to make that Poku comparison, but look, I think Chet makes it in the NBA. I think we're seeing an all-star career with him, and I think he does make the translation because there's a lot of NBA scouts out there that have higher IQs than I do, and they're saying he's going to be good, and I've been saying he's going to be good. So I'm going to trust them. We've seen guys translate well that have smaller frames, or not, he doesn't have a small frame, skinny frame, and make it work.